Hey, what's good? What's good? What's good? What's good? Welcome to Dee Smith. Let's discuss today's session, man. Today's session, I want to talk about Meek Mill. Meek Mill is one of my favorite artists. However, Moxy Approved just did a story on this brother right here. I will not believe anything anybody say about Meek Mill because I just love the way he raps, especially when he get in his the pain music with Friday and Kaki K, or I hope I'm pronouncing the name right, Kaki Ka. Love that music right here. I'm pretty sure you guys heard the song with Meek Mill and Friday, Meek Mill Snap. However, Moxy Approved is calling cap on my boy, man. My boy. Let's react to this video right here by Moxy Approved. Welcome to the session. Like, comment, subscribe. Let's go, man.
Worked so hard to breach.
And I ain't never got mad with me. I just walked away from the deal. I'm like, cause
I got addicted to the drugs along the lifestyle. You be no. It's no entourage big enough. It's like when I did it to Meek Mills. You get what I'm saying?
This is the story of Philly's greatest street struggle rapper who flew too close to the sun.
How badly Meek fumbled in 2015, because he had the ghostwriter and peeing allegations against Drake and somehow still lost.
Meek, you are the biggest on this planet.
During a time when everything in rap became controlled by social media accounts.
Oh no, Queen. We don't know nothing about undercovers. Oh no.
Making him one of rap's biggest caps.
It's crazy because all the individuals, they just show all cap, right? Nicki cap, Soulja Boy cap, all full of shit, man. Call it another person cap, man. 2026, man. Happy New Year's.
This is Meek Mill.
You got cap in your raps. You got cap in your raps.
Robert Ramit Williams didn't lose momentum the way people think he did. At the height of his visibility, when everything should have expanded, the growth stalled. And it stalled for the world to see. This story isn't just about jail or beef. It's about the decisions that turn opportunity into a ceiling. His story would begin in Northside Philly during the latter end of the city's golden era of being a battle rap hub. The young boy became known pretty quick around those parts, pulling up on other underground artists for on-the-spot battles.
I'll bust the seven like gambling with dice. Bring your hands on the night. We can handle this tonight. Bring them kids out there.
He would do all this in the midst of dealing with gun and drug charges he caught in 2007. He will be granted the most dangerous sentence in America for a young black male with an ambition: probation. Probation isn't jail. Jail has an end date. Probation just watches you live. For the next decade, every success Meek would have came with an invisible ankle chain attached. He could move, but only far enough for the system to remind him who was really in charge. The struggle endured would make him one of the greatest struggle rappers in history, making a mixtape franchise detailing this pain, which will become the highlight of his career, The Dream Chasers. By 2010, Meek's buzz was loud enough to land him a deal with T.I.'s Grand Hustle. On paper, it looked like progress. They even chose him over the boy from the Six.
What's the rationale?
Shout out to Drake. But, you know, when you were in it, everybody got a story about what they missed out on.
In reality, it was a holding pattern. No real push, no real direction. Just enough industry exposure to learn how fast things can stall. Unexpectedly to the rescue would be a New Orleans icon, Master P.
I was Meek Mill's manager. Then James, when he first started.
Who saw Meek's
I never
vision.
knew that.
But I'm telling you, I knew he was the boss from jump.
But the situation would be more temporary than anything else because another hip-hop mogul at the time would come knocking on Meek's door, Rick Ross. MMG would be too appealing of a deal for Meek to turn down despite P's advice.
So let me tell y'all why I stopped, right?
Yeah, we got hit.
So I knew Meek was talented at the beginning. We had that song. I was like, Meek, you don't need to sign with nobody. Meek was like, I'm gonna sign with Ross. But I had looked at the contract, and Ross to tell y'all from this day, Ross a good dude.
Yeah.
But he ain't had his business straight.
Yeah.
But he ain't want to. I told James, I said, James, well, I ain't never got mad with me. I just walked away from the deal.
MMG wasn't just a label, it was a cosign. Chains got bigger, beats got grander, the machine was finally behind him. But the probation clock was still ticking. This deal will make him the next artist in line to get major.
The self-made albums, 1 and 2, were pretty good.
Pull in Philly after artists such as Beanie Siegel and Cassidy, who wore Philly's crown for years. The latter was not willing to give up the crown so easy, just like he once grabbed it from Freeway.
Pretend you pay me, leave you stuffed in a dumpster like Brenda, baby. Whether it's 16 bars or 116.
He would have the same done to him with Meek, clearly outmaneuvering one of Philly's all-time greatest rappers.
You the biggest in the game, I got you cat shook. Cassidy losing to Meek, now how does that? Welcome down to Bentley, to go half on 5 pounds, you niggas need to die now. Philly niggas my tech.
The two going back and forth on mixtapes.
He dropped that song Repo, that was a whack. Look, the streets know the people need the repo to rap for. I heard your car got repo, and this is my life, boy, you just got Debo.
The win was so easy to Meek, it implied this battle rap shit is easy. Not to mention, this would happen during an epic run where Meek would drop Dream Chasers 2 mixtape, which would break that Piff servers with over 1.5 million downloads in 6 hours. And his debut studio album, Dreams and Nightmares, would land number 2 on the Billboard charts, only being beat out by Taylor Swift. His highly anticipated Dream Chasers 3 would include a collab that would become a gift and a curse, an industry bop that had Meek's attention for years. Maybe our first cat queen, Nicki Minaj. He'd been tweeting about the number 1 star for years, but before Meek could make his move, there were 2 major things in the way. One, which there was no ducking. But hold up, about 60% of y'all haven't even subscribed to my page, so go ahead and apply pressure to that subscribe button.
Hey, go check out Moxy Approved on YouTube.
I got 99 probably, but it ain't one of them, because I'm a real nigga. I don't take care of none of them.
In 2014, probation would catch up to Bob Williams, being sentenced by Judge Brinkley to serve 3 to 6 months for smoking weed and not checking in before traveling for shows and appearances. During his sentencing, there was a hitting message for Bob to heed. You see, Judge Brinkley made it clear his sentencing was also dependent on the fact that Meek used the internet to drag the Philly court system while he was on probation.
The DA said she hate me, but I don't understand. When I just rock the show in front of 50,000 fans.
He even went on track and called the judge racist.
I think that's racist. She probably in the clan, she take her pain out on me, but she probably need a man.
This is a lesson that will eventually burn the Philly cat to a crisp one day. We'll get to that later. She officially ordered Meek to undergo social media etiquette training, which would one day become quite ironic. This sentencing will become way more important than one would think, stopping Meek's momentum, having to cancel a tour and push back his next album, Dreams Worth More Than Money. This will be the beginning of a slow downward spiral. Meek would get released in the latter end of 2014 and continue his pursuit of an artist that his own boss Ross would tell him wasn't a good idea.
Is it true that you warned Meek Mill about Nicki Minaj? Okay.
That's a fact.
What'd you say?
You know, that was just my opinion. Be careful.
I never knew that, man.
Sometimes you
That's
gotta let your
crazy.
little brother live, and you can't stop your little brother from living. You just give your advice and support him, whatever decision they make.
Meek once again wouldn't listen. Why would he? Upon being released from jail for failing a drug test, there was a new drug running the show, Percocets. And somehow Bob would become friends with both Nicki and her boyfriend Safari, where he proceeded to Dirty Mac, allegedly FaceTiming Nicki while Safari was cheating, breaking up a 12-year relationship. Nicki will become single, but only for nothing more than the length of a coke high. Finally, Meek would announce their relationship in January 2015. The stakes would become higher. Meek Mill would waste no time going after Safari, sending subliminals on the track, pulling up.
See what your man said, what up to you like you ain't give me that work.
Once again, this battle shit is easy, but things were about to catch up to the young
Dude said coke high.
in a real way.
In a real way, though.
Being that his next album will come while he was in the midst of building back momentum after his short bid slowed him down. On Dreams and Nightmares, he would go all out, even getting a collab with Nicki's label mate Drake, who became the biggest artist in the game. The model was simple. A Drake feature will grant you international exposure beyond hip-hop in exchange for cultural validation. A Unfortunately, there was one artist not willing to turn an eye when he felt the unspoken rules weren't being fulfilled. Meek Mill would have a meltdown from perks and tweet out a dissatisfaction from Drake not tweeting his album. He wouldn't waste too long informing everyone Aubrey had a secret. Well, Bob had everything he needed to win. A documented battle rapper, a despicable story of Drake getting peed on that wasn't Cap, and proof that the Cap of Canada had ghostwriters. But he would still fall victim to Drake's new invention of giving his enemy a timer. Thus, Meek would rush and fumble one of the easiest layups in hip-hop history, instead taking one of the most brutal defeats ever. The battle was on. Drake's software update would quickly produce 2 diss tracks, one using a formula mixing the club track with a diss, being a certified classic called Back to Back. Meek would pull a rabbit out of his hat, but it was almost like no one was watching. You could literally hear Meek's sluggish tone he would later blame on drug use.
I got addicted to the drugs along the lifestyle. You become famous and you become the only one from your family tree that's seeing money out of your whole area. It's a lot of pressures that would come with that.
Meanwhile, Nicki's label mate would deliver several quotables that would go on to be classic lines repeated till this day. Probably the most prophetic would be, this line will be so devastating, Meek's Twitter tirades deserves a Cap story of its own. But he wouldn't be the only one whose life will be changed from this beef. When Quentin Miller, a ghostwriter who helped Drake shape If You're Reading This, It's Too Late, would deny being a ghostwriter rather than just a collaborator. But it didn't matter. The streets and the internet had already judged him off of all of these reference tracks. And the fallout was brutal. He got jumped in the Nike store by Meek's folks.
They called me, we was in LA, I was walking to the Nike store, and he approached me, and this is really my first time really talking with me, and basically he told me, like, you know, he didn't appreciate the letter that I dropped, and it made him seem like he was a liar or whatnot, and they been stole off on me in the Nike store and ran. I shed blood in the Nike store on Wilshire.
His footing in the industry and became...
Come on, mate. Come on, dog. Come on, dog. You wrong for that, bro.
Other kill acquisition.
You wrong, man.
Drake would spend time touting his crown over Meek, even performing the track in Meek's own backyard, making his first battle a piece of cake.
Yeah, trigger fingers turn to Twitter fingers. Yeah, you getting bodied by a city nigga. I'm not the type of nigga that'll take the niggas. And shout out my boss, bitches, white niggas.
Meek's half effort would not only give him one of rap's biggest L's, but he'd get banned from Toronto too.
How badly Meek fumbled in 2015, because he had the ghostwriter and peeing allegations against Drake, and somehow still lost.
Facts.
To everybody's surprise, Safari would finally fight back on a track called Lifeline, which would get an extra boost during Meek's beef with Drake.
This nigga been out of shape with a gorilla face.
Bob's beef would make it to Nicki's plate. In essence, while Meek claimed Drake had ghostwriters, his girlfriend was being shamed for the same.
My bars on that pink print, no one on.
With the Drake beef and Percocets wearing him out, Bob would move on for the time being, going into recovery mode from his image taking a huge beating. But unfortunately, there will be no time to rest. You see, the sharks detected there was blood in the water, and Drake was just the beginning.
Money can't make me, sucks can't break me. Back to back jazz, but I'm still getting 80.
Now being in the big leagues, the pressure was mounting for him to do numbers. A Drake post was what he was hoping for, but wouldn't get. The dope fiend wasn't finished with the self-sabotage though, confronting his own label mate Wale for not tweeting his album.
I called him. I don't know what's going on, but you know when he did that, I was just like, all right, something might be off the drink. A little testosterone on tour, like, you know, you with your girl,
Turns out, Wale went to the radio station and got things cracking.
What did you think of that battle?
I honestly think, he brought like a pencil to a gunfight.
Can't expect to be taken serious calling someone a cornball after taking one of the worst L's ever. Rick Ross would help squash the situation. Rick Ross, who famously tweeted and deleted that Meek took an L. Meanwhile, signs begin to show that the stigma from Back to Back was taking a toll on the Cap couple. Seems like Nicki was with someone that wanted to dress her, not date her. This is the era where Bob Williams will become the punching bag of the industry. That will be perfect timing for the Bap of Bompton, who had an album release on the horizon. The exchange will be classic Capathon. When Kingston was rushed for his chain while partying in a nightclub where both the Game and Meek were in attendance, Kingston was relieved for over $300,000 in jewelry. What happened next will be anyone's guess, as all three artists are known Cap Kings. The Game would claim that Meek contacted the authorities and placed his name in the incident, which would shock Meek, who would conclude this was all because Game had an album coming out called 1992. So of course, this would lead to a back and forth between the two over diss tracks.
See that shit got with Drake, it's like a slow leak. Blood will be dripping like Niagara if I poke Meek. Nicky won't get no sleep.
To Game, Meek would be easy pickings. Meek wouldn't be impressed by, in his words, the Hollywood actor.
Niggas be talking all that gangster shit. Niggas actors. You heard me? And I got like, what I got on my neck? I'm on the dirt bike. I got like 450 on my neck.
He would challenge the Game to pull up, in which the Game did, grabbing a Philly cheesesteak with no worries. But the moment he posted on IG, goons descended on Mac's chicken steaks.
Max is in. Because I wanted a steak, for real.
These niggas be lying like a motherfucker.
You know what I'm saying?
OG, was the rapper Game here? Was the rapper Game here? Game. The rapper Game, was he here?
The Game would use his industry knowledge of Meek dirty macking against Safari and creating his own narrative, calling Meek Rat of Philly. Meek will reply with the help of Beanie Siegel and O'Malley. But how worse would things be when Beanie Siegel would go on the radio and imply he ghost wrote for Meek?
Did you ghostwrite any of those lyrics?
A few of them, yeah.
Mm-hmm. For both Meek and for both Meek and O'Malley.
Yeah.
I mean, this the whole situation seems shaky. I know you say I'm not qualified to speak on it. I'm just.
Consequences will be quick, with the Philly legend being put to sleep backstage at the Bad Boy Family Reunion tour. This action alone will become more material for the Game, who would end the battle with pest control.
Every time he go viral, welcome to the West, and it's ain't the life of Pablo. Stay on that bullshit, it's gonna start to feel like Chicago. Take beans back to rehab on Instagram, looking like a beanbag.
Uttering everything the industry knew about Meek.
Now tell the world how you got your. You FaceTime Nicky while Safari was chick.
Fortunately for Meek, the police would call Cap on Jayceon entire snitch story. But it will be this beef that would make Meek a candidate for extortion.
All right, we chilling? No. It's no entourage big enough. It's like when I did it to Meek Mills. You get what I'm saying?
It was said that an easygoing Meek Mills was once spotted in LA where he was relieved of a watch.
I took his watch off, I took his chain off, he handed it to me. Nice, easy, he was a sweetie pie about it, so.
The Rolling 60s Crip, Loose Cannon, would detail this situation.
So when I walked in, the security see me and they see my team and they was like, oh, we know what this is.
Cap.
They broke.
Cap.
Like they
Cap.
split, right?
Cap.
So they split. I said, you know what it is? He took it off, handed it to me. I was like, I'm waiting for a payment. So as soon as I got the confirmation, I gave him back the shit. I read it like that. I said, this is a lesson to you.
Though this
these niggas be lying on the internet,
Mills
man.
would not respond until all parties involved were apprehended by authorities.
This is what Meek Mill had to say about Loose Cannon. He said, this guy must be using a story to confuse this indictment because I've never seen him before. I would have put him to God's test on the spot. I never even met Buddy. I don't negotiate with fake thugs. Ask him what chain, because on my chains, watches all 300K up vibes. So this is Meek Mill responding, basically denying that he even met Loose Cannon. He's saying that shit for Cap, and he said, what watch or what chain? The thing is, I don't even think Loose Cannon even mentioned the chain. Did he? I don't remember Loose Cannon even mentioning the chain.
Meanwhile, the greatest of all Cap, Soulja Boy, began trolling Meek, liking Nicki's IG pics, which was a sign of things to come. Because soon, after the Cap Queen would notify the world that things been done with her and Bob, some would say Soulja Boy did the same thing to Meek that Meek did to Safari. Whatever the case, it was over. All of a sudden, Nicki had to join in on the fun.
Meek still be in my DMs, I be having to duck them. I used to pray for times like this. Face ass when I fuck him. Meek still be in my DMs, I be having to duck them.
It's crazy because everybody in this story is just full of lies, from Nicki to the gang to Soulja Boy to me. Everybody in this story is just liars, man. You can't believe them or trust them what they say. Crazy.
All Meek had to talk about was her sneakers, which led many to think,
do you think it's a lot of undercover brothers in the industry?
Oh no, Queen. We don't know nothing about undercovers. Oh no.
ultimately she would
It's crazy because this story about Soulja Boy being undercover. These people are
the
funny,
guy
man.
from her childhood with a past so dark I can't talk about it without being demonetized. After losing
No
the battle
comment.
and this chick, the Cap of Philadelphia had enough. Running across Safari after the 2017 BET Awards, it was time for payback. The expression on Bob's face would speak for itself.
I'm walking up the street now.
Meek Mill's and
Meek, you are the biggest on this planet. You saw me, you ain't douche. You had your niggas jump me one-on-one, you can't f with me. So that's why you had to do that. Y'all niggas jump me. Niggas call me from the back, niggas call me from the side, all that. All white, I'm still clean.
This moment would be just that, a moment, because his next enemy would be his worst one yet. And the worst part wasn't the losses you just saw, it's the one that's coming next. Check out.
So he does other videos on the game. Shout out to Moxy Approved. Go subscribe to his channel. But yeah, Meek Mill is one of my favorite rappers. I love when he does this type of music with Cocky K and Friday. Hey, like, comment, subscribe. Welcome to the session, man. I'm out of here, man.